Josh. So first thing we have to know is that if we're doing PMO, we're definitely not going to be seen with clear eyes. It's like when we're doing that, it puts a hex over our entire being. I mean, it just makes everything lower. When we're doing semen retention, when we're living a high vibrational lifestyle, spiritual practice, it like maxes out our personality traits. I was going to make a video on that. When we're doing PMO, or we're living a dark, debaucherous life, it does the opposite. It like kills our natural higher qualities and gifts that we have to offer. Our personality goes down, our score goes down, sense of humor, it's just weaker. We're slower, mind more dull, more slow. Our will is weak. We don't have the intestinal fortitude to do the things that we feel we should do. We get angry quicker, frustrated, depressed, and see that attracts a whole other package. See, usually, then those people were already in a darkness, because PMO is dark. This is dark. So then we start attracting other dark things that increase the darkness. Like we start smoking weed. I mean, for some people it's medicine, but for others it just drives you deeper into darkness. You have to discern and see what's what for you. Start drinking more alcohol. That's poisonous anyway. This alcohol, there's just nothing healthy about that. I mean, you want to have a glass of wine once in a while, okay, but there's much better, higher level, higher energetic things you can do besides drinking and smoking weed. You get to where your natural state is higher than what smoking weed or drinking alcohol can give you. It's like, even, let's say my worst down day is still better than if I was to smoke weed. Alcohol, forget about it. But it's like it's an artificial, high or something. It's not coming from inside when we do these things. And so it's like that artificialness, it starts to, when we get higher, we don't want artificial anymore. We want authentic, because there's a big difference, and we've tasted it. So we have the contrast. There's a big difference between when we feel our own inner euphoria compared to if we're taking some substance to just stimulate the dopamine and getting that euphoria. There's a huge difference. And that's why people do PMO also. It stimulates the dopamine. And this is why we chase girls and get them to try to smile at us and have sex and validate us. Dopamine. When you're getting that from inside, you can't really go back and do these other things. You might slip once in a while and go back, but then you recognize it quick. You're like, this isn't what I'm about anymore, When a person comes to that state, you're good. So you're good. So how does semen retention help you see, though, with clear eyes? You perceive things more authentically and accurately and honestly. For example, if you're at work, I mean, there's so many examples, but this is coming to me spontaneously. If you're at work and a coworker or manager is treating you bad, you come in, you're good. They feel your energy. Maybe I should make a video too, why people hate on your energy. Instead of reacting to that, instead of like let's throw down, it's more like you have compassion for them. You see that they're hurting. Your light is burning up their unconsciousness, which is good if they want that, but they don't want that. They don't know they're in darkness, and so they think they're this darkness. Your light starts burning them, and then they get mad at you. Like, quit burning me. You see that. That's an example of clarity. You see what's happening. If your parents or family, if they're not understanding you, how common is that? Instead of getting mad, you realize, okay, there's these expectations I have because she's my mom or this is my family. I have these expectations that they're supposed to understand me. This is the main problem people have, you know. They're my family, so they should understand and get me. Well, most of the time they don't. You see that. So instead of reacting and getting mad at them, you meet them where they're at. There's a good prayer. You can Google this. Step 11, St. Francis prayer. It says to comfort instead of being comforted, to understand rather than to be understood, to love rather than to be loved. You see, it's self-forgetting. The whole prayer destroys the ego. Because the ego is all about like me, what do I want? What am I not getting? This prayer is posing a different perception, the opposite. And see, when we're doing semen retention, when we're living a clean life, it's like this perception becomes more awake. It wants to come through. This is, you can say, our godly essence. It wants to come through. This is our natural state. Ego is not our natural state. Ego is just a vehicle so that the consciousness, which doesn't have a form, it can taste what it's like to have individual experiences. Ego means individual, autonomous existence. That's ego. Ego doesn't necessarily mean, yeah, I'm the best. No, those are aspects of ego. But ego really means individuality. So we need ego for the consciousness to exist. Otherwise, if there's only consciousness, I'm getting in the spiritual channel. If there's only consciousness, it doesn't even know it's conscious. So it needs to individualize. That's what ego does. But for a while, the low-level ego is all about get mine, respect me. As we grow in consciousness, as we do semen retention and live a higher vibrational life, that starts to get undone because that's our destiny. That's the evolution. We start to think more about, you know, how can we serve others? Even if they're doing something to us maybe that's not good, we might have a thought, an epiphany in that moment and say, you know, God, how can I help them right now? They're in pain, obviously. They're attacking me. They don't know what they're doing, though. Is there a way that I can, show me how I can help them maybe? There may not be. And so then you just leave the situation. And if you can't leave, then you got to be directed what to do in that situation. You know, maybe sometimes you got to fight. You know, we don't know. The point is, you're acting from an inner grace, an inner feeling. You're not acting from ego and mind. It's a big difference. Even if you did the same thing, let's say that the right thing to do, they were hurting your family or something, and you had to fight. If you're fighting from ego, like, how dare you, man, I'm going to kill you, and you might kill him, and you might go to jail or prison or something. Maybe it's not necessary to kill him, for example. If you come from your mind and fight, it's going to be different than if you're coming from inside. If Spirit's directing you to fight, and it does sometimes, it'll be different. It'll be a different fight. Even if you're swinging on them, it's going to be different. Your energy behind the swing is going to be different. I like to give illustrative, colorful examples sometimes because I want to drive the point home. But you can apply that to, you know, anything else too. How you know, this inner guidance starts to be your guide, not the mind. And when the inner guidance is the guide, everything just gets more clear. You're more clear who you're supposed to hang out with, what kind of food you're supposed to eat, where you're supposed to work, what your purpose is in the world, you know, what habits to get rid of, which it's okay to keep. All these things become clear. You can't have clarity when we're doing PMO. It's impossible. Everything's just all tainted and warped and we can't see straight, you know. So that's, I think I made the point that I wanted to make in the video. And leave me any questions you have and I'll answer them. All right. Have a good day.